Hello everyone, and welcome to this video going over the changes made in patch 1.7. Patch 1.7 has brought a lot of perk changes and also some very important gameplay changes that you should really pay attention to. So first, we'll be going over the general changes, then I will go over the survivor perk changes and the killer perk changes, and then the new killer, of course. So, first off, anyone who played during the event is awarded this black hair mask. Even though we did not reach the event goal, the devs decided to reward our efforts with the Huntress cosmetic, but we will still have to wait for the David cosmetic. Now, this next change is something we have been waiting a long time for, and that is the lobby ping indicator. Both Killer and Survivor have this. So if you're playing Survivor, the ping indicator will be located right next to the chat on the bottom right, and it's this rectangle. When you mouse over it, it tells you the ping. For Killer, it looks exactly the same, except for every Survivor will have this little rectangle next to their name. So now you will know if you're in a laggy lobby and can dodge appropriately. Patch 1.7 also brings us a buff to killers, which means that survivors, you better watch out because killers will be able to keep up with you much more easily than they could before. And so this is how. Killers now break pallets 15% faster than they did before. This means it only takes them 2.6 seconds to break the pallet, instead of the 3 seconds it used to take. Killer window vaulting has also been decreased. A killer can vault a window in 1.5 seconds, instead of the 2.67 seconds it took previously. So, while the killer is chasing you, look out for those windows because they might try to mind game you. Now, killers aren't the only ones who got buffed. Survivors have also been buffed. Crouching speed has been increased to be half of the survivor's walking speed. So this means that crouching around the map will be a little easier, and playing against hags will be a little bit easier because you won't be so slow. Now, downside, you did get a slight nerf because the medium vault speed now takes a total of 1 second to vault instead of the 0.8 seconds it took before. Now, the Ironworks of Misery map has seen some changes as well. As you can see here, there is now a gap here on the outside of the window between it and the pallet, and because of this, that means the killer can cut you off before you get to the window and makes the spot maybe not as safe as it was before. Also, on the top of Ironworks, all windows except for one will be blocked. And the generator no longer spawns next to the window every single time. It now spawns in this location instead. At least it has been in that location for every single game I've gotten in Ironworks so far, so I don't know if it's randomized for sure, and I just got lucky that it only spawns there, but it's something to look out for. Now they have added a brand new map. It is a variant of the swamp and it's called the Grand Pantry. This map has one big building and then this other medium, smallish building and then the killer shack. So, kind of like the forests for Huntress. Now, the thing to know is that if you do the generators on the buildings, they will open up doors that are in the downstairs areas of these buildings. So you might want to consider doing the generators on these two buildings first, so you can have that area open to get chased by the killer. So now for these survivor changes. The camping aid kit has been buffed. The base charges are now 12 instead of 8, which means that it can heal 1 full health state by default, and not be the useless little thing it was before. but they reduced the healing speed from 25% to 15%, so you're just going to heal a little bit slower. Now, for the emergency medkit, they also gave it a buff. It used to be 16 charges, it is now 18 charges. So, I kinda like that, because green medkit is a favorite of mine. Now, let's move on to the perks. So first up we have Urban Evasion. Finally getting the buff it deserves. It now increases your crouch speed by 100%, and it does not matter if you're injured to get this increase. So this is really good, especially for playing against those hags out there, and you can crouch walk across the map at normal walk pace and not be seen by the killer from a distance. Next we have Soul Care, which got a minor nerf. The efficiency of healing items during self-heal was decreased to 20%, down from the 100% it used to be. So now we have Slippery Meat, and Slippery Meat got completely reworked. It only kept one part of what it had before. So what it does now is that it gives you 1, 2, or 3 extra escape attempts, and the odds to escape a bear trap were increased to 15, 20, 25%. Then they removed the increased escape attempt speed on hooks and traps, and then removed the increased chance to escape a hook. So now what Slippery Meat does is it just gives you those 3 extra chances to get off the hook, and a better chance of escaping a bear trap. This is not happening now, affects great skill checks instead of good skill checks. So next up we have Borrowed Time. Borrowed Time saw a big nerf this patch, and what they did was that they changed the timer for 20 seconds after unhooking a survivor within the killer's terror radius. It is now 15 seconds. And then if you take any damage that would put you into the dying state, this additional timer will be 15, 20, or 25 seconds instead of the 30, 35, 40 it was before. And finally, We're Gonna Live Forever has been nerfed. The max point gain was decreased to 50, 75, 100%, and they decreased the stackable bonus to 25% from 50%. So next we have killer perk changes. First up, Enduring. So for Enduring, only the tier 1 and tier 2 values were changed, and they were both increased from 25 and 50% to 50 and 60%, making Enduring much more stronger at the lower tiers. Unnerving Presence also saw a buff this patch. They increased the chance of triggering a skill check to 6, 8, 10%, up from 3, 5, 8%, and the skill check success zone is reduced by 40, 50, and 60% instead of 5, 10, 15%. Lightborn got a minor buff where they removed the dim vision from it, so now you get the resistance to flashlights without the dimness. Brutal Strength was nerfed to account for the new killer pallet breaking speed, so now the values are 10, 15, and 20%. Agitation saw a minor buff where the terror radius is now increased by 6, 8, and 12 meters instead of 0, 3, 6. Up next we have Overwhelming Presence, which also got a buff. The values went from 40, 45, 50% to 80, 90, 100%. So this means that if survivors are using items within the killer's terror radius, they're being really inefficient and those items will be consumed a lot faster. And finally, Distressing got a really nice buff where the blood point gain for actions in the deviousness category is now 50, 75, and 100%. And they changed the terror radius to 22, 24, 26% increase. So they have added this brand new killer called the Cannibal in-game, but it is Leatherface in the trailer. And he also has a chainsaw, but his chainsaw works a little differently from Hillbilly's. So, on his chainsaw, it's only a limited sprint, so not constantly like the Hillbilly, and he can turn during this sprint, and if he accidentally runs into an object, it will make him go into a tantrum, and the attack does damage all around him, so if you are close to the killer when he goes into a tantrum, you will get instantly downed. So first off, his chainsaw doesn't go off when you charge the bar to full. You have to let go of the M1 button for him to start his dash forward. While he's dashing forward, you can turn side to side pretty easily, and at the end of your dash, he'll do like this big sweep. So this guy can take down multiple survivors at once, so be very careful when playing against this killer to never be near another survivor if he's chainsawing at you. Alright, so his unique perks. First we got Barbecue and Chili. So after hooking a survivor, all other survivors' auras are revealed to you for 4 seconds when they are further than 52, 46, and 40 meters from the hook. Grants 100% bonus blood points on any scoring events while a survivor is on the hook. His next teachable is Franklin's Demise. When you hit a survivor, they automatically drop the item they are holding, and the item will lose 0, 5, or 10% of its base charges. And last, we have Knockout. So what Knockout says is that dying survivors' auras are not revealed to other survivors when they are standing outside of a 32, 24, and 16 meter range. To give you an idea of how big of a range this is, 32 meters is the size of the average killer Terrarides. And that covers all the changes that were made in patch 1.7. I hope you enjoyed the video and that it helped you understand all the changes made this patch. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck out there in the fog.